Hello everyone and welcome to my week 4 battle. My name is Not Quite Cause, and today I'm actually going to be doing a draft breakdown before I go into my team builder, and then I'm going over my team builder into the match. It is going to be post-com this week because I've been having a lot of PC trouble, but it's finally all fixed up, so hopefully you guys enjoy the battle. I am going to be starting from week 4, so hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of the series. If you guys want to stick around, please do leave a like and subscribe, and in the comments go leave either your favorite mon on my team, or I'm actually recording this on my birthday, so wish me a happy birthday. Alright, so first up we have Greninja here. Greninja was my first overall pick. I've seen so much about Greninja in draft. I've watched Greninja in draft so many times. I've really wanted to use it. I was going to use it in my last league, but I ended up getting Palafin as my offensive water type very early on. So I went with Greninja this league as my first overall pick. And I originally was going to get Darkrai. I think Greninja was actually a better pick. It's a little, it's got extra typing and some extra unique abilities. But yeah, so overall, this thing can be run physical, special. It's very fast. I didn't have too much speed on my last draft, so I wanted to get more speed. That was one of my problems. It's got priority, it's got hazards, it's got pretty much everything you could want on a mon, except for bulk, but that's okay because I will get bulk later. So overall, very happy with my first overall pick, Greninja, and I went immediately into Annihilate. A little bit of a bulkier attacker, and it's more physical oriented as opposed to special oriented. I think it pairs with Greninja very well. The two of them have like very strong offense, but one of them is a little bulkier, one of them is a little faster. I'm able to get just a lot of value out of my first two picks here. Greninja you want to hit, Annihilate you don't because of Rage Fist. So yeah. Next up, I wanted a Steel type because I am currently weak to Fairy, and I wanted Bulk as I have two attackers. So I went with Corviknight here. Corviknight, you know, Flying Steel type, not really much to it. It's just your standard Bulk mon. It's got Roost, it's got Defog, and it's always going to help. You can run a couple of different sets with it. You have to worry about a couple of different moves from the opponent. Either what if it's an IDEF set, what if it's a Bulk up set, what if it's just like pure defense. So there's not way too much to worry about from it, but you do have to worry about at least a couple of different attacks that could make it slightly worse for your team. And you have to find a way to break Corviknight. And if you're like hazard space, Corviknight does decentivize hazards. It means that you can't just spam Fairy versus my team when Greninja and Annihilate are there. So it is good with that. And yeah, overall, Corviknight definitely covers some of my weaknesses. I went with Mamo next. Continued with a bit of that bulky offense that Annihilate gives. Also gives me my ground type, and it gives me offensive ice, which are two really good types that you want to have. Mamo is also infamous for being good in draft. So we have all these different options here: knockoff, stealth rock, earthquake. I wanted a consistent rocker. You can run stealth rocks on Annihilate, but I definitely will at some point. I maybe already have, but yeah, it gives me a consistent rocker, priority, and ice shard. I have priority on Greninja, obviously, and you can technically get vacuum wave on Annihilate, but a little bit more priority on that Mamo. So overall, I just think it helped the team. Next up, I wanted Terra Lucario. So Terra Lucario is broken, and everybody kind of knows that. So I went with Terra Normal, obviously. You actually had 4 Terra types in this league, and you were not locked to your stabs. So I did end up going Terra Fighting, just because Terra Fighting Lucario is very strong with those strong close combats, but I also went Terra Normal for extreme speed. Terra Fire, it's a good offensive type, it's a good defensive type. It helps cover a couple of Lucario's weaknesses. A little bit, not incredibly. It does share similar weaknesses, but that's okay. It provides a little bit more offense for Lucario, giving it offensive fire moves, which is something that we won't see my team until the next pick, but it just gives Lucario access to a little bit more defensive types, and it's solid defensively to like wall certain mons, so I thought that was a good idea. And next up, I went with Iron Moth. So originally I was thinking of more some fringe poison types, like some like mid-tier ones. I think I had Jigalgi on my list. I had something else on my list, I forget exactly what, but my idea is I wanted a grounded poison absorber, and I know at this point I was like struggling because I was like, shoot, what do I want? Because like I also wanted like a mid-tier fire type was an idea I had, and I was just overall really struggling to actually put a team together. And then I was like, wait, what if I just grab a high tier fire and poison and knock it out now? and then I found some lower tier value picks. So I went with Iron Moth as like a last second decision. But I ended up thinking it pairs the team really good. I didn't have a pure special attacker up to this point. I had a mixed special Lucario too. But I needed a pure special attacker, and this thing gave me more speed, which is always appreciated, which I really like for the team. So more speed, more strength, and fire and poison. Just the grounded poison's really good, and offensive fire is nice. So I went with Iron Moth. Screamtail here. I wanted more speed. I wanted pivot ability. I wanted a tank, specifically one that has a little more special, because I have a couple of physical guys. This guy's got a little more special bulk, and I was happy with that. Screamtail provides a lot to the team, provides wish support, provides status spread, even has some offensive sets. It's another booster energy mon along with Iron Moth. I think you should have a booster energy mon on your draft league team always. I think it's just such an incredible item, and it frees up a little bit of that draft prep. It frees up your move slots a little bit, so you don't feel pressured to use a choice item if you want higher damage. I think booster energy is actually such a valuable thing in drafts, so to have a pair of booster energy mons I think is actually really viable. I went with Belly Bolt next, so I actually didn't go with Belly Bolt. This is an addition that I just made. I originally drafted Rotom Fan, which I never did use, which you'll see why later in the draft. I'll explain more on why I didn't, but Belly Bolt provides a little more bulk to the team, again, because I have a lot of offense down in my lower tiers, and bulk is always appreciated. It's a good electric type. With Terra, this thing has water, poison, flying, and grass as its 4 Terra types, so all very good defensive Terra types for Belly Bolt, which means this thing can tank hits. It can use like Parabolic Charge paired with Electromorphosis to live for a while, or just slack off. It can Toxic Stall. So this thing provides just a little more defense to the team, and allows me to, again, status spread, tank hits, deal some damage back. It's hard to take down and can cause problems for a lot of teams. We have Cyclozar next. Cyclozar is, once again, more speed, but it's also more consistent hazard removal than just Defog Corv. It gives me access to Rapid Spin, access to Regenerator with pivots, access to moves like Draco Meteor and Knockoff for like either damage or utility. So Cyclozar is just a good spinner with a nice of utility and adds some more speed to my team. So I've got a lot of speedy pivots, I've got a lot of bulk, I've got damage and bulk. I have pretty much everything you want. So now comes to my last 2 picks. I did realize that fire was a bit of a weakness to me. Originally, I did not have, like, once again, didn't have Belly Bolts, which can, like, Terra water and beat fire types. But I'm looking at, like, Iron Moth and Greninja as my fire resists, and I'm like, that's not really great. So I went with Dachshund here. I needed to something at this point. There was not too much in that tier that was really worth it for me. So I went with Dachshund just to have a fire immunity, which is something that my team lacked. I did end up bringing it 1 week, and it did do well. So with that, Dachshund, just like a nice little, you can't always just bring fire spam, because I can bring Dachshund. It's a nice physical wall. Wish passing for the team again. So, I don't know, like body press as well. It does provide at least something to worry about, and that's good for the team. I don't need to bring Dachshund that often, but the fact of it being there means that I can bring it to beat fire types, and you have to worry about that. My final pick here, I went Mischievous. So this is why I ended up dropping Rotom Fan, because not only was there not much in the 2-point zone that was actually worth drafting left, Mischievous is a Levitate mon that can Terra, and that is kind of exactly what Rotom Fan was. I ended up bringing Mischievous a couple times due to the value of that Spidef with Eviolite. So I just dropped Rotom Fan because not only was there not much better to replace Mischievous with, Mischievous was something I brought, and Rotom Fan was something I just never saw myself bringing. So I went with Belly Bolt instead, which I think is a little less overlap with Mischievous, and therefore fits the team better. So Mischievous, nice little bulky Eviolite mon, with the ability to Terra into a Fairy, Fire, Steel, and Poison type, I think? No, Electric over Steel. Electric over Steel. So overall, this thing has multiple different sets. It can run Calm Mind, it can run Will-O-Wisp, it can run Pain Split, it can run all sorts of coverage moves. And yeah, so that is my team. Hope you guys enjoy the team. Now we're going to go right into my team builder here. I'm not going to spend too long on it, but all right, so let's go immediately into the team builder here. So first of all, I'm bringing Greninja. I have a mixed Greninja, as that allows me to hit certain mons easier. Its physical coverage was just a little better for this battle, so stuff like Brick Break for the Weavile, Gunk Shot for the Shaman, and the Azumarill, I could run Sludge Wave in that slot, but I just went Gunk Shot as I'm going to invest more in my physical. Night Slash, I just like the crit chance a little bit, and I also like how it's Drift Blim a little better, because Drift Blim does want to run Combine sometimes, so it allows me not to worry about that if I come in and want to kill it, say it doesn't Terra. I do have Surf, though, because Great Tusk is a problem. I don't want to run Liquidation into a Great Tusk. Night Slash is also better versus the Latios, as it has higher Spit F, but, so Surf into a Great Tusk with more physically oriented Mon does allow me to hit that thing better and effectively sweep Battle Bomb, boost my attack and special attack, so I am fine running Mixed, and then obviously boost my speed. I have enough speed here to outspeed a Latios by 2 points instead of 1, because 1 point unfortunately doesn't exist, but that's okay. 2 points is fine. And then after a Battle Bomb boost, I outspeed everything, including the Weavile. This thing is a really potent sweeper. I just need to weaken a couple of the Mons. Stuff like what was it? The Rotom Heat doesn't always die to Surf if it's defensive, so I basically just need to weaken the Rotom Heat and the Revavroom if it wants to come. Those two Mons for sure need to be weakened, and then I can pretty much sweep everything after a Battle Bomb boost. So next up we have a Corviknight here, just a standard max bulk Rocky Helmet Corviknight. Not too much thought put into this. I needed hazard removal. I didn't always have Iron Wealth for the team, which we'll see later, but I just needed hazard removal in general. I didn't have any Boots Mons on my team because I wasn't super worried about hazards, but just in case, Great Tusk wanted to run Stealth Rock, I was a little more bulk oriented, so I just wanted to be able to get rid of it. If we did see like something like Toxic Spikes on the Revavroom, I didn't want to burn my booster energy on Moth, which again we'll get into. And originally I didn't even have Poison type, so I thought Defog just needed to be there, even though hazards I didn't really see coming against me. Roost, just wanted to heal, obviously. The Night F Body Press just to hit things. Iron Defense made it harder for his massive physical attackers like Azu or Weavile or Great Tusk to just consistently get hits on me, which I resist anyways. So it just allowed me to 1v1 those guys. And then a couple of his better special attackers, such as like Shaman or Latios, just don't have anything to hit me with because of my defensive typing anyways. So this thing walled just like about like 5 Mons on a team that were really scary, so I just kind of needed to bring it. Next up, I have a Sword Stance, Terra Normal Lucario. My first time bringing it, surprisingly. It looks good into this team outside of Great Tusk, basically. It was a really good, I can Sword Stance early and break things if I wanted to that aren't named Great Tusk. And Great Tusk could even die to, 2 close combats after a Sword Stance if it wasn't, max bulk. So this thing overall just caused a lot of problems for the opponent. So with this, it was like a mid-game breaker if I needed to. It was also a really good end-game cleanup. If that Great Tusk goes down and everything was weakened, this thing just comes in, SDs once, and it's actually surprisingly bulky, even with no bulk investment, and then it just kills everything. So, simple little Adamant Lucario to get the most possible damage off here. We next up have our Chinese AV Mamo, and not just any Chinese AV Mamo. This is a specially offensive Chinese AV Mamo. So the thought process behind this, which I team built this with a couple of my friends from the G9R server, shoutouts to them for helping me build this team. We came up with this MAMOSWINE kind of as a team. So my original idea, I said Freeze Dry, and then I backed off of it because I was like, I don't think it does that much damage to Azu. But the more we looked into it, the more we realized, okay, well, it does solid chip to Azumarill, and that's valid and it can't belly drum. And then another one of my friends brought up Smackdown, so that we could run it against a Rotom Heat and then hit it with a ground move. So we ended up deciding, all right, well, we're running Freeze Dry anyways, let's just go with Earth Power and continue the specially offensive Mamo to hit. And then we were trying to define a final option for a fighting for a special move, and I mentioned Icy Wind. So Icy Wind was kind of my idea here. It wasn't originally well received, but we ended up deciding on it. So Icy Wind here slows down my opponent. So this thing's like a harasser, you think you're safe, but either it slows down and now it's like, well, Mamo could beat this now, or it smacks down and it's like, well, Mamo could beat this now, or it's like, okay, Azu should be safe, but I Freeze Dry, well, Mamo can beat this now, and stuff like that. So it's a Mamo that's just a bunch of unexpected tech to help it handle my opponents well. I thought that AV helps me tank hits pretty well, especially with that thick fat. I could be fake weak to a overheat from Rotom. And overall, that just allows this mon to better handle my opponent's entire team. So next, I went with Screamtail here, and the Screamtail is more of a support guy for the team. It wish passes to keep stuff like AV Mamoswine alive, as well as Corviknight. If I don't have time to roost, it can keep my attackers alive, but they're mostly going to be like this one in, one out type thing where they come in, kill a couple mons, and then it goes back to my bulk guys until it's the next guy's turn, is kind of the idea. Baton Pass allows me to speed, get out of things. Like if I know, okay, Screamtail could die here, I quick Baton Pass so I can read the opponent, and then go into a Corviknight or a Mamoswine here. Wish passing is obviously also a big help to my team. Thunder Wave helps slow down some of the opposing mons that could outspeed, like a Greninja or an Iron Moth or a Lucario. So by slowing down the opponents, this thing helps out a lot. And then Dazzling Gleam, I just went with special attacks because it's easier to hit the Great Tusk with. Lefties just to keep my recovery. EVs here are pretty simple. It's good health for wish passing. Good, I get 27 back from leftovers each turn, which helps a lot for certain calcs. And yeah, so that was the Screamtail set. And finally, I went with Iron Moth here. I went one above the SMACKS speed threshold just so I get that booster energy, and then I want the defense just so I can better handle getting revenge hit by a Weavile, which is going to be the only thing that can outspeed me. Fiery Dance, Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Sludge Wave. It's just the basic coverage I need. Fiery Dance and Sludge Wave for my stabs. Energy Ball for the Tusk for the Azu. I obviously have Sludge Wave for the Azu, but say that he wants to switch something in. For whatever reason, Energy Ball hits Azu slightly better. And then finally, we have the Dazzling Gleam here, which hits the Latios. So overall, I was looking into this battle. Rotom Heat is definitely the thing that scared me the most. I think it was the best versus my team, so I knew he had to bring it. Great Tusk obviously comes, and Latios obviously comes, so now it was down to the other mons. I was thinking Weavile, Azu, and then probably either Revavroom or Drifblim. I didn't see the Grafaiai coming. Terra Lantern I didn't really see coming. Any of that stuff. So this was the final team I went with. Now with that, we're going to head into the actual battle. Alright, so here's the actual battle, and as you can see, things went not exactly how I expected. I see the Grafaiai, I see the Lantern. No Weavile, no Azu. All this kind of shocked me. So I thought Azu handled like Annihilating Greninja so well. So start off the battle here. Actually, I will send this to normal. So I lead Mamoswine here, and my original thought, yeah, as you can see, so Rotom Heat comes out. I decided to lead Mamo. I thought it handled most things the best as a lead here. And I was like, all right, I can smack down immediately because I have a feeling he's switching into Rotom Heat. And as you can see, we do immediately get that smackdown, so now it is weak to my ground move. So with that, I'm looking here. I was debating whether or not I just ground move to hit the Rotom, or predicting he was going to switch, knowing that the ground move was coming. I go for an ice move. I just decided no reason to keep these mega predictions going early, so I go for the Earth Power here, and he does go back into Latios so that he is immune. So here I learned that he's actually Reflect, and I missed my Icy Wind, which kind of sucks. I wanted to slow this thing down just to kind of see what it wants to do, and it's actually a Reflect set, which is good to know. So there he goes for the light screen. I got my little Icy Wind off here, and we do not see leftovers, so my assumption is that this thing is Light Clay. I smack it down so that I can make it switch out, because now I have the threat of a ground move, which could be Earthquake. Oh no, it's Earth Power. They saw that, which is Earth Power, so they know about that now. And I just decide I'm going to Icy Wind again, keep this thing slow, see what it wants to go for, and we see the Luster Purge. So Luster Purge drops my Spidef, which kind of sucks, but I would have switched anyways, seeing the Luster Purge. So I know this thing's only attack and move is Luster Purge. I now know it's full moveset. So Mamoswine already has done damage to the Rotom Heat, and we see no leftovers, so that damage should hypothetically be permanent. And it has revealed the entire Latios' moveset, so it's already done a lot. I switch into Screamtail here to tank a Luster Purge. I am more Spidef oriented, but I'm HP, but I have a lot of Spidef because of my Spidef stat. And my thought here was just, let's go for the Dazzling Gleam. Or no, I go for Thunder Wave, reading a switch, but his switch ends up being Rotom. And it even does good versus the Latios. Shadow Ball here, 34%. which doesn't deal that much. I wish here, and I just decide let's stay in and catch that wish. Or no, I baton pass, but this thing's actually faster than me, which is interesting. If it's faster, that basically means that we are dealing with a Scarf Rotom, I'm pretty sure. Just double check my team builder for that. Yeah, so we were dealing with a Scarf Rotom, which I didn't even catch, actually, which is kind of bad on me, but this Rotom is Scarf, which is really good to know. So we go for an Icy Wind here, and we're able to slow down the Latios. So Screamtail comes in here, and he just starts setting up Light Screen. I figure this thing can't do anything to me, so this is a good time to Wish here. I figure I live any hit from the Great Tusk, so I just go for damage. It does go for Iron Head here, which I probably should have looked to see if it got, but it doesn't do that much, and I'm able to heal back up. So at this point, I figure let's just switch. He doubles the into a Grafaiai, which is fine because I get my Baton Pass here, so now I know to go into Corv, which I would have gone into anyways. Knocks off my Rocky Helmet, which is a bit annoying, but it's fine. I get my IDF here. I figure he's going to go Drift Blim, but I just want to Body Press anyways. So I double here into Mamo as he doubles into Rotom Heat. I tank a Overheat here, and I go for the Icy Wind. So at this point, what I'm doing, it's just kind of switching around, seeing what I can weaken, but also I now know we've got the Overheat and the Shadow Ball from the Rotom Heat. I've seen Knockoff from Grafaiai, we've seen the Drift Blim come out, we've seen the Great Tusk come out, we know it as Iron Head. We've just gained a lot more information than my opponent has, who has only seen IDEF Body Press on Corv. They've seen 3 of my moves on Mamo, but that's fine because MAMOSWINE's just going to do what it does. And they've seen my Screamtail set, but once again, as long as I keep on staying between these 3, they have no clue what my 3 offensive guys are doing. And I know what his potential offense is. I know it's Grafaiai, I know it's probably Drift Blim. I've seen a little more offense of the Rotom, but I've been seeing that, and we know how limited this thing is. And Great Tusk, it's probably ground fighting move with that Iron Head, which we can beat easily with something like a Corviknight. So I'm seeing a lot more of his team than he's seeing of mine. My team is staying healthier than his because Rotom can't heal unless it's Pain Split. And seeing this thing as Choice Scarf, I know it's not going to heal at all. Great Tusks can't heal outside of lefties. We know that Latios is limited recovers. So overall, my team's damage is a little more important here, and we're getting more of their sets. And now Lantern comes in, which is really nice because we get to see what the Lantern wants to do. So Wish, it goes for Scald here. Gets the burn, unfortunately, which is going to cancel out my lefties, but Wish is going to keep us alive. I decided to go for damage here. I see not much. This thing is very specially defensive, and as I'll figure out later, based on the little damage I'm doing with Spadef, I'm pretty sure that thing is a Salt Vest. I don't know for certain. I haven't done the calcs, but based on how well it was living on my special hits, that is my assumption that that thing is an AV Lantern. So I Baton Pass here into Corviknight. Just as the simple answer to Grafaiai. We know it's not going to do much to us. This time, I just decide to double because I know he's not going to stay in. And he actually Parting Shots, which he didn't do earlier. He hard switched. I don't know why. As we see, it's leftovers and not choice. So now I have to double back into my Screamtail here. This is fine. I go for the Thunder Wave and I catch Grafaiai. Thunder Waving the Grafaiai is really nice as this thing can speed tie with an Iron Moth. So now for sure, we will always outspeed it. This also, so it helps a lot, and it just generally is nice because now we can shut it down a little easier. It goes for the Parting Shot here. I just go for a Wish here, and now I'm going to Baton Pass because I know that this thing is faster than me, which once again, I don't know why I didn't think about it being Scarf even though I knew it was faster. I just go for the Dazzling Gleam, deciding let's just heal myself up here, and now I decide let's go for another Wish. I want to try and get into Mamo here. The Paralysis now means, okay, I am safe to do this. I Baton Pass into the MAMOSWINE. In this thing, it's double parried, which sucks for him, but I now fully heal my MAMOSWINE up. I switch because I have minus stats from the Parting Shot that I Baton Passed into myself. And I probably could have actually gone Mirror Armor on Corv for the Parting Shot from Grafaiai, but I didn't think about that. So now, I double again. I know MAMOSWINE can take any hit. I just decide let's go for the Icy Wind here, or the Smackdown here, because I can either smack down the Lottie or smack down this. I end up smacking down a Lantern, which I was thinking about Freeze Dry actually to catch either high damage on the Lottie or catch a Lantern, but I didn't end up doing it. So I decide now let's just go for the EP, and he Terra Flyings, which the Smackdown does not count because he was not Terra Flying before the Smackdown. So we now know this for certain. And in comes the Scald, which does about 49, which is a little much for my liking. So I will just go back into Screamtail, which we know takes very little. So this thing seems to have decent strength if it's doing that to an AV Mamo, even though I don't have much SPDF on the AV Mamo. I know that I outspeed or I take a parting shot here. Again, paralysis, so we're really shutting this thing down. And now MAMOSWINE just gets that nice HP back. I don't know what okay, so I just go for Smackdown. Again, safest. It hits like 4 things actually. It smacks down. Now I go for the Icy Wind. And I decide, let's get a little more damage off. So I go for my Freeze Dry for a slight bit more damage and, potential freeze chance. I now go into Screamtail thinking this is when he's going to Luster Purge, but he goes into Lantern here, which is really interesting, considering that thing would have taken quite a bit of damage from an Ice move, even though we now know it's AV, so probably wouldn't have actually. I figure I will live. Do I switch here? Oh, yeah, so I go for my Thunder Wave here, because again, with Drift Bloom, we want this thing paralyzed 100%. And now that it's paralyzed, this is really good. We get the full para. I believe I would have lived the Shadow Ball just based off the Rotom damage, knowing that thing was offensive. Maybe we would have died, but we now get our nice little healing. And this is just so good. So Screamtail here has consistently shut everything down. And Shadow Ball does about 20% to Mamo, which I think... How much did that Rotom Heat do? I know we saw Rotom Heat Shadow Ball my Mamo at one point. 20% to Mamo, and that does 20%. So yeah, we would have lived. They did about the same damage. We get Icy Wind here off on the Tusk, which is nice. So I go for Freeze Dry thinking whatever, I'll live a hit from Tusk. He just goes for Iron Head instead of a Fighting move. So Fighting move actually would have killed. So I probably shouldn't have stayed in. I don't know really why I did, but I figured I'd live a hit. And now I sack the Mamo. So at this... Oh, you know what? That's right. I was fine sacking Mamo because I realized at this point I could switch something in and probably sweep with Greninja. So Greninja comes in. I'm thinking nothing could live. I go for Surf here. And then he's actually Water Absorb, which I didn't realize that would be the step. But that's a really smart idea with the Lantern here so that I could beat Greninja. So it's AV with Water Absorb, which is smart. So I'm realizing I actually can't switch, and I'm like, whatever. I don't need Mamo at this point. Mamo has done its job. It's weakened everything. It's harassed everything. It's Screamtail that really needs to stay alive to tank hits. So I figure, all right, let me go for a Baton Pass here, and I go right into the Iron Moth. And Shadow Ball only does 23%. And at this point, so he goes for Endure. I go for the Fiery Dance here, and I'm realizing, okay, 40%. That means that even if you're Custap, it won't proc. That has to be 25% or lower. And same with a potential Salic Berry, which is what I'm thinking this thing was. Like Salic Aftermath, or Salic Unburden with Calm Mind or something maybe. But it might have just been like a Custap Unburden set thinking he could sweep. I know this thing cannot Terra because the Lantern did, which makes things safer for Greninja late game 2, which is what I was thinking. So we know that this thing is guaranteed. So I go for the Fiery Dance here. It does drop. I now get my special attack boost, which is really nice. So in comes the Lantern, and I'm thinking I could kill this easily. And I only do 42%. So that's why I think this thing is AV. Like, there's no way you're taking that little unless you're like max SPDF AV from Quark Drive special attack. Plus 1, Iron Moth here. So Scald ends up doing this much, so I'm like, whatever, I will just go for a potential poison and kill myself here. This is okay. Let's go Greninja. So Greninja at this point, I'm thinking I've already won. Night Slash comes out here. I do get a crit, which I don't think matters, but it does. Parting Shot would be annoying here if he goes for it, which he doesn't. And because of the paralysis, I outspeed. And now my Battle Bond is up. So he goes into Great Tusk here. I decided to go for Surf. Now he does switch into the Lantern here. Smart, but it only actually heals 25%. So I go for a Night Slash here, which does 15% to the Great Tusk. I'm just thinking, whatever, I don't mind if the Lantern heals at this point, so I Surf again, and he reads me to read that Lantern's coming in, which I don't. Great Tusk drops, and now the game is definitively over. Latios gets Night Slashed, a critical hit. Again, I don't think it mattered. I'm +1, I'm max attack, and this thing does not have the best Fizz Def. So it drops. Life Orb is boosting my power here. Night Slash for the Lantern. And now the Rotom Heat comes in. Rotom Heat, I think if I saw it, I would have Night Slashed anyways, because I would have figured it dropped, which I believe it did. If this thing is Scarf, it probably wasn't bulky, so I think Night Slash would have for sure killed. And I just go for Surf here, knowing that there's no Lantern to switch in, and that is going to be the game. So overall, I don't know why it reset here. overall here, I'm very proud of how I played. I'm very proud of this team in general. I like the team I drafted. I've liked the way I played. Shoutouts to my friends for helping me, as I've actually been away all week before this, so we built this team in around about 30 minutes. But it ended up working out. No mocks going into this, but I played well. I reacted to things well. I liked the way this team turned out. The Mamo set was completely fire, and we ended up working out very well to take down a team that had a lot of strong threats. So, good games to my opponent. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.